Hello from Little Rock.
Hello from Little Rock.
Have you seen the Little Rock?
We couldn't see it because it was raining today. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Hello from Von Walker Stadium, Razorback baseball.
Woo!
Hey.
Go Hogs!
That is so not fair.
I know.
My son tried to get tickets for Mother's Day and they were, I think 4 tickets were $1,000.
Wow.
Okay, everyone,
Wow.
we are live.
All right, we got about 5 minutes and then we'll get started. We have 2 board members. We need 2 more to have a quorum.
So you know that Leslie will not be here.
Yes, Leslie Howard will not either.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Howard's daughter is in from Italy and she leaves in the morning. So he wanted to spend the last evening with her. I don't think he had seen her in 2 years.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
wow.
So
Yep, that's gotta
she
be-
was a dancer at the school. She ended up working in a dance troupe in Europe and ended up in Italy.
Is her name Heidi?
Yes.
So I just met her dance teacher from University of Arkansas,
Mhm.
Little Rock,
Yep,
at a
yep.
meeting here just about an hour and a half ago. And she was commenting on Heidi and her work. So, pretty exciting. That's really
Yep.
nice.
Yep.
Richard, are you at a school-related Little Rock meeting?
No, I'm at the APSRC's charter school statewide conference here in Little Rock.
Oh, good.
2 days, yeah. So all charter school people.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Anything earth-shattering?
Well, I will say that going to the legislative meeting to describe all the bills that were passed was pretty interesting. But there were more than a couple of financial meetings that I went to that gave some flexibility for what we're looking for next school year. So Bonnie and I will have a conversation about that. It was good. Yeah.
I see Jeff has joined us. We're getting there. A couple more, 1 more, and we'll have a quorum.
Just curious, is everyone seeing a gallery view or are we seeing?
I'm seeing gallery view. I have mine set up for gallery view.
All right.
Yeah, so do I.
Mine's
gonna
gallery.
And I'm going to switch it to speaker. So now it's probably just me with the logo, right?
Nope.
Nope. I
I
still
see
have
Mine
gallery.
down. I think it's controlled on our own personal
Yeah, it
computers, I
is.
think.
You can control that yourself.
Good deal. I just want to make sure if I flip it, I'm not flipping it for everyone. I
So,
think there's a way where I can control it, but I don't want to.
so we're looking for either Adrian or Nate. Is that correct?
That is
Yeah,
correct. And
Nate's on
they
his
were,
way. Nate just texted me and said he was going to pop into an office and hop on a computer. He should be out here shortly.
Great.
And Adrian's gonna join from her phone, she said.
We have our first public speaker on the list. He is connected,
okay.
so we
We'll
do
have
have
to wait till we get that quorum. We'll wait for the other board members and then we'll get started.
right.
Aaron, did you get your hair cut?
Yes.
It's the talk of the conference. Look at this
Turn
man.
around, Aaron. Turn around.
Yep.
Oh,
Oh, hey.
that wasn't nice.
Ooh, ooh.
I was joking. I thought you had your hair pulled back. Did you really cut it?
I lost a bet with Richard and I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, I think it looks great.
I insisted that I look like I have more hair than he does.
I
It
like
just-
it.
It looks good. You still got a lot more hair than I do. Well, my daughter got married in our backyard this 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Oh,
It was really nice, really magical. We were able to have it look exactly the way she wanted. We had the canoe with ice in it. That was our cooler. It was a camping theme is what she chose. So we had a 10 up as the honeymoon suite. And it was really nice. Turned out real well. There was only 14 of us. It was a small wedding, but it turned out real well.
And it didn't snow?
And it didn't. We looked out, we had that torrential 2 days before. Everything dried out, and the next day it rained. So we were good.
Good deal.
That's awesome. We expect to see pictures.
All right, I can send some pictures. Of course, she had a photographer, so we were forbidden from taking pictures at certain times, which is fine. But I did get the setup and everything. I'll send that on. All right, we still need another board member, it looks like.
Oh,
Or student council representative.
So we'll just give another minute or two, see what happens. But we do need that quorum if we're going to vote on anything. I'm looking, there may be a couple things that we'll need to vote on. We'll definitely need to vote on the consent agenda. So we will need another board member to be able to do that. While we're waiting, I'll go ahead and talk about, I was going to bring this up later, but I can bring it up now and bring it up again later, is we need to do Richard's review here pretty quick. Normally, this would have been done back in February or January, but because of the late start, we're a few months behind. And I would like to get this done before Howard and I drop off so that you guys can have the experience of what we do with the review. So I was looking at either next week or the week after to have a special board meeting to where it'd be an executive session. We'd go in an executive session immediately and do a review. I will send out documents to help every board member do their evaluation. We have some forms that we can fill out, and then we will do a group discussion, and we have a form that will be signed off by the president, treasurer, and vice president. Usually it takes, if everybody has done their evaluation beforehand, it usually takes about an hour or so.
Tony, is there an official form that we're supposed to be using?
I will send that. I will forward that on. Yep.
Okay.
There's a individual board member form and then a group form. So
Are we
I'll
going
send
to
on
do
the-
this virtually, Tony?
Yes, we'll do it virtually.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, we'll wait for the other board members, and then we'll see if we can come up with a date that will work either next week or the week after. Just so we can get this done before Howard and I are no longer on the board, since now Kara has a little bit of experience too, but I don't know, with Mary leaving, I don't think we did an evaluation last year.
No, we didn't.
Because
I haven't
Mary
done one.
resigned, so we didn't go through with the evaluation since it wasn't since she was retiring.
so as a point of order, we only have this meeting as our last opportunity to meet virtually because of the 60-day emergency declaration by the governor. So the June meeting will need to be in person until we get a waiver to meet virtually as a school district. So the June board meeting will need to be in person.
With the evaluation, since it wasn't all right. Well, it's like I said, we still need another board member. We're one short to be able to have a quorum. So we're going to hold on just a couple more minutes.
Yeah, Nate's still trying. He's having technical difficulties.
Okay.
I'm texting Adrian.
Okay. Sounds great.
Hey, Tony, the list of public speakers that I sent you,
Yes.
it's in reverse order. I just noticed. So the one on the bottom, start with the one on the bottom and then move your way up the list.
Okay. Gotcha. I can see that now by the registration time. Thank you.
Yep.
Yep. So we're going to hold on. Like I say, we need one more board member. There's, yep, nope. Thought I saw one for a second. It was my imagination. Boy, everybody got quiet.
So I'll report that here in Little Rock, I brought along for this particular meeting Rachel Carpenter, who is assistant principal at the high school, Jamie Dale, who is teaches actually a variety of courses at the high school, is also here, and Aaron Jones, he of Reduced Hair, is also here as a part of the conference. And we started at 8 o'clock this morning and we finished really just before this meeting with other attendees. So if any of us look just a little shell-shocked, it's because we've been sitting down for about 9 hours.
Okay. All right. Nate Fries is coming in. All right. Once he gets in, we will get the meeting started. All right. Nate, can you hear us?
Adrian says she's connected, but she's muted.
Okay.
She's
All
on
right.
her phone.
All right. Well, we have looks like, Nate, can you hear me? I want to make sure you can hear me.
There's Nate.
Hey, guys.
All right. All right. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off. So I would like to call to order the Arkansas Arts Academy School Board meeting for the month of April 2021. I'll do a roll call. Tony Beardsley.
Kara Riley.
Nate Fries.
Jeff Honeycutt.
Adrian Jackson.
Richard Burrows.
All right, so we have everybody present. We have a quorum. So now let's go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. If you will stand and face the flag nearest you, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. All right. Next, we have
One
comments.
question. You said the April board meeting, and since we're only doing virtual.
Oh, excuse me. It is
yeah,
May.
it's May.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I got confused on where I'm at in time. I was trying to go backwards. Okay, thank you. The May 2021 board meeting. All right. So let's comments from the public. We have 5 people that have registered to comment. Just as a just so everybody knows, you will get 3 minutes. I will start a timer. You get 3 minutes to make your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Echo going on somewhere. I was trying to go backwards. Okay, thank you. The May 2021. There we go.
Yeah,
So everybody will get 5 minutes to comment on whatever they have registered to speak about. So let me get my clock going here. And the first person we have is Herb Vogel. I hope I'm saying that right. Herb, once you start talking, I'll start the timer. So whenever you're ready, go ahead. Now, I just do want to remind everybody that we do not comment to the comments made by the participants here as a board. We could take it into consideration at a different time, but right now we will not make any comments on these. So Herb, why don't you go ahead and get started for us?
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay. So I just want to make a comment. I noticed on the agenda that sports was under new business. And I know last year it seems like everything was, I don't know, momentum was building. And then at the end of the year, right, everything suddenly came to a head. So I was just wanting to kind of head off that from happening again. I'm not sure what the new business exactly is. I know some people have said that it's possibly kids missing some class time. The kids have to travel to these other schools to play their games as far as Cotter, which is 2.5 hours. But there's 5 or 6 away games a year. That doesn't add up to what I would consider an absorbent amount of absentee time. I think somebody had speculated that the topic might have been kids that were attending school virtually, but then still showing up to basketball practice. If that was an issue, then I would just say in the future, please don't wait to the end of the school year to let all this stuff pile up on top of athletics. I think that should have been addressed at the beginning of the season or through the school year. That easily could have been addressed. So I'm not sure what the new business is. I was really hoping, last time it seemed like when athletics was brought up, it was a one-sided conversation and nobody, especially with it being virtual, wasn't allowed to correct any of the statements or give input. So I was really just hoping to be here to provide that input.
All right.
I really feel like athletics and art are equally important. I think athletics allows kids to build their leadership skills and team building skills. And I just feel like athletics is an important part of a lot of these students' life. It gives them just a physical outlet to stay healthy and be involved in addition to arts, right? So I just wanted to make that comment. And again, I'm here if anybody has questions about anything athletic related. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Herb. We appreciate your comments. Thank you. So next, Terry Poole. Terry, there you go.
Can you hear me, sir?
We can.
Okay. I just want to say Arkansas Arts has changed me in a huge way. I mean, from school, grades, sports, and everything. But I just want to say I fell in love with the school from the teachers and the activities they have for us and the sports, especially. I played 2 sports, and the sports are soccer and basketball. And one thing I can say about the sports here, they really challenged me to do better, At my old school I went to, I had a 2.2 GPA, I believe. And here, I came here and I felt more welcome here. And I felt very comfortable, but I also knew I had to set a goal for myself. And they told me like the 2.3 is maximum. And I exceeded that, I believe, and got a 3.8. So with that being said, I just want to say sports has a lot to do with the things and the way a lot of athletes behave because, a lot of us, we don't really have things going for us outside of school, and arts is set that up for us. I mean, being a president of a club, and which is Black Student Union, and all of this, it is helping us for our future. And arts, that's a big plus in this school that a lot of schools don't give us, is just, that challenge and that comfortable feeling of being yourself and doing that. So I just thank arts for that and the sports.
All
Thank you,
right.
Terry.
Thank you, Terry. We appreciate you commenting. Thank you. All right. Looks like next we have Jasmine Garcia. What would you like to talk to us about? Is she on?
Yeah, she's using an older version of Zoom. I just promoted her.
Okay.
She should
Can you
be.
guys hear me now?
We can.
Okay. My name is Jasmine Garcia. I am a sophomore at AAA, and I came to Arkansas Arts Academy to be a part of something that I can put myself out there and not be afraid to do what I think is right for myself. I joined basketball my first year of coming to Arkansas Arts Academy, and I feel like with joining basketball, I felt more welcomed, and I had something to let go of my stress from school, from home, from everywhere. So I think that helps personally. And last year, when the school board tried to take away the basketball program, a lot of my friends wanted to leave the school from it. And so I feel like that wasn't, I don't know. I am not just a basketball player. I do my schoolwork. I actually am enrolled in drawing and design too, painting too. So I don't want to be labeled as just someone who goes to an art school to be there to do arts. I also do basketball, which also helps to focus a little bit, gets like our stress off of schoolwork. And yeah, I just
Okay.
think that basketball plays a big role.
All right. Is that all, Jasmine?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, appreciate your comments. Thank you so much. So let's see. Who do we have next? Lori Atkins. Lori, whenever you're ready.
We do not have Lori connected.
Okay.
We
We'll
actually do not have anyone else connected.
Okay.
To speak.
So I appreciate everyone commenting. It's always great to hear from our school community. We take all this to heart. So appreciate you. Always want to hear from our community, because it's important that we stay in touch like that. So I appreciate it very much. And I encourage everybody in the future, especially when we get back to being in person, to come to the board meetings, make these comments so that we know. We really do appreciate it. All right. Since we don't have anybody else connected, we will move on. And the next thing we have is our consent agenda. We've got our minutes from the April board meeting, and then we also have our financials and our enrollment report. Now, Howard was not able to attend. So Jeff, can you give us any updates that we need to know around the financials?
No, the financial committee actually didn't meet this week. We
Okay.
Everybody had conflicting appointments. So yeah, we weren't able to meet, so no update.
Okay. Well, I looked at the financials. I don't have any questions. Do any of the board members have questions? Or Bonnie, is there anything that we need to know that we may not be aware of?
No, I think we're on track. I really do.
All right.
It's looking really good to me. So
That's always good to hear. I've been in the others before, so that's always really good to hear.
Right.
So I appreciate that. All right. So if we don't have any comments or questions from the other board members, the enrollment report, Richard, can you talk to that just a little bit, to the enrollment?
Debbie's here. She can talk to that.
Debbie, would you like to talk to the enrollment report just a little bit? Give us a little bit of what's going on there.
As it's staying pretty much status quo. We're excited about our enrollment for August. We're at capacity pretty much, so that's very exciting. We have those families committed to be here in August, so we're right on track.
All right, that sounds great. I appreciate that. All right, so with that, I will entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented for the April regular board meeting. I will take a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Everybody?
Somebody want to give me a second on that?
second.
All right, I got a first and a second. All right. Any further discussion around the consent agenda? All right, with that, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion passed, consent agenda accepted as is. All right, so the next thing we have are our district reports. And first on is our superintendent, Richard Burrows, on the district and superintendent report.
Thank you, Tony. So there are a number of new items for board consideration under new business that will require approval. And I just want to make note of those since they're very timely in terms of moving forward on a number of expectations from the state. First is acceptance of the 2019-2020 annual report to the public. So this is last school year. And since our final audit was not completed until March 30th, we needed to wait until that was complete before we could put together the annual report to the public. And you have that in the materials that were sent to you. So under new business, it will be a matter of accepting that or amending it. Also, is the acceptance of the 2020-2021, that is this school year's report to the public. And interestingly, I started on September 14th, and there used to be a deadline of October 15th for creating this document, and they removed the deadline, which meant, of course, that there was no information sent to me as a new superintendent about an expectation of developing this report. And so this report establishes what it is that the school district would do or has done as part of its effort for the coming school year. So it's on our calendar. Debbie and I put it on October 15th for next school year to make sure that we didn't miss it. We're not behind. It's just a matter of making sure that what we plan to do for this school year has been reported to the public. And of course, at the end, we'll have an annual report for this school year that says whether or not we've actually accomplished those things. So that'll be part of an acceptance by the board. Also is a report later, I'm hoping from Neil Harrell, which is approval of the disposal of assets, which relates to selling the district Suburban so that we can buy a much more flexible vehicle for purposes. And he'll talk about that later for your discussion and approval as well. Also is and part of that would be the approval of moving forward for the acquisition of a 15-passenger van, which would give us greater flexibility without using the 77-seat buses for smaller excursions. Also is approval of ESSER 2 expenditures for 2021-2022. So that's next school year. And just as a matter of discussion, the things that are approved that are eligible for ESSER funds for the next school year. We have about $370,000 plus from the federal government to spend in this regard. And there are a few new positions that we would like to offer, a summer program, some tutoring programs that ASPCR is offering that would be particularly useful, and a series of technology updates. So we'd like to be able to move forward with that in a timely manner so that we're not behind in getting those expenditures in place. As well, our expanded summer school has a set of opportunities that are going to be made available to students. We have a high school classical dance workshop that's being organized by Amy Kessler at the high school. She's also including new this year, a cultural dance workshop of international dance experiences, which is very popular already, an elementary dance workshop. There is yet again this year with Joy Price, an elementary visual arts workshop, and that's always booked fully. Crystal McWilliams is interested in doing a high school stained glass workshop, which everyone in the central office wants to go take because it sounds pretty exciting. And we're working with the guitar teacher and the modern jazz teachers at the high school to see if we can't put together a final piece of strings workshop for the summer as well. So it looks to be a very big year for arts learning to capture those opportunities that were missed for in-person. So we're looking forward to the summer school program. So that's the CEO report for now.
All right. Thank you, Rich. We appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying the fine city of Little Rock.
Never been here, but it's raining, whatever.
All right, so now we have our child nutrition report.
Yes, there's no cycle reporting this month. I am currently working on the annual contract with the State of Arkansas Child Nutrition Unit. It consists of about 22 pages of data-driven information. It also includes verifying that our website is current and up to date legally with our non-discrimination statement, our wellness policy, student meal charge policy, and current applications, and all that is current. Next year, we're going to be offering our free and reduced applications in English, Spanish, and I'm working on getting it in Marshallese as well. Working hard, planning, getting ready for the the summer feeding program. It is going to be a community program, so we are going to be able to offer it to families in our area, again, like we did over spring break, and it was very successful. So I'm excited about being able to fill that need in our community and also introduce people to Arkansas Arts Academy that aren't familiar with that. So I'm real excited. Our budget is looking good in child nutrition. We're going to end the year with a positive balance, which is really exciting. And I'm working on collecting negative balances, and that's going very well as well. So everything's good.
All right. Sounds great. I'm really excited about the summer program. That sounds wonderful. It's great to be able to have our community. All right. Thank you, Debbie. And next we have our COVID status report. Hopefully there's not a whole lot to say.
There's not. Arkansas Arts Academy currently has fewer than 5 active cases of COVID-19 in staff and students, and fewer than 5 in quarantine district-wide. 70% of our staff are fully vaccinated, and a few staff members who have not received a COVID-19 vaccine have signed up for the upcoming vaccine clinic at the high school. Debbie's Pharmacy will be hosting that COVID-19 vaccine clinic at the high school campus May 18th and June 8th, so we can do the first and the second dose. And that's for students 16 and older and any staff who has turned in a consent form to Maribel Morgan. Yesterday, I think, or this morning, I can't remember, the FDA approved the Pfizer vaccine for ages 12 to 15. The CDC Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices meets tomorrow to discuss and should approve it as well. Once that announcement is made, emails will be sent to parents with the link to sign up. So those will go out to 6th grade and up. We have had a few groups within our district take part in field trips, and we have not seen any direct cases of COVID-19 or any direct cases of COVID-19 from exposure during these trips. And that's just encouraging to see as we cautiously allow our students to participate in activities that feel like a normal school year. On the K-6 campus, we have Fun and Field Day in June. Typically, it's just one big fun day. We've spread it out over 2 days to ensure safety and spacing while our students get to enjoy an end of the year tradition. So,
all right.
So yeah, so good news mostly.
That is good news. That's great to hear.
So Tony, I just want to add one piece of information that I heard from the state at our meeting today here in Little Rock, that effective next year, and I'm sorry, Katie, I wasn't able to have a conversation with you about this because I only just heard, is that we are no longer in a position as a school district allowed to require masks beginning next school year. That it'll be voluntary, and I hope that we can model that particular experience within our school and school district among teachers and students. But the expectation that all students will wear masks is no longer in effect for next school year. And I'll seek some clarification on that language, but it does demonstrate that the state is moving forward in terms of the COVID situation.
And Katie, just quick question. I'm assuming, I guess maybe this would be for Richard as well. I'm assuming this the school is taking a stance of making the vaccine an optional thing, right? That people would opt to take or not to take. Is that correct?
That's right. I mean, currently the vaccine is not compulsory. We do strongly encourage it, but yes, it's not required to attend.
And the state of Arkansas does not expect that there will be a mandatory situation. Private businesses can do that, but public institutions cannot.
There's been a lot of negative around companies that have forced, even if they have the right to. So that's something I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page on it. It probably would not be recommended to pursue that.
So the governor said this morning that it was his goal that 73% of adults would be vaccinated in the state of Arkansas as part of sort of immunity that would be effective. And that when you start to include students 12 and up, he was hoping that there would be 53% of all Arkansas citizens, students or adults, be vaccinated to assist in moving the agenda forward.
Yeah, 70% seems pretty much on par with a lot of businesses, so that's good.
Yeah.
Great. All right.
Can I just ask for a point of clarification real quick, Katie? So the vaccine clinic is on the 18th, and is it, I assume, going to be Pfizer, and there will also be one scheduled June 8th for the second dose?
Yes, the first
Okay.
dose May 18th, and then the second dose June 8th, and it is the Pfizer vaccine. And any students who graduate are welcome to return to campus to receive their second vaccine. And I'm sure that they're even open to giving one on June 8th if for some reason May 18th and June 8th they have changed their minds, to at least go ahead and start the vaccine dosing, and then you could just receive it somewhere else, maybe at Debbie's, when you're due again.
Okay. And if the ACIP votes favorably for 12-year-olds and up tomorrow, you will send out an email so that we could sign our 12 and up crowd?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that status update. And looks like next, Mr. Young, you are up. You're on mute.
That's probably the way y'all prefer me sometimes, right? So after the K6 campus, we're in the middle of testing right now for our 3rd through 5th graders, along with getting the virtual students to come on campus for testing. Ms. Wright's done a great job as the district test coordinator, helping us out with that. And then on May 12th, coming up, everyone needs to go get some treats at Andy's on JB Hunt here in Rogers from 11 to 11. So you can really start your day with Andy's, midday, and then end your day. So 3 times at Andy's, good for everyone, for sure. Mr. Jones has set up our staff to meet the new education director at Crystal Bridges this month. So we're excited to make that connection and get that relationship going. As Nurse Katie said, field trips have started again. Woohoo! And our kindergarten students went with Mr. Jones to Compton Gardens on Earth Day. So yes, the first field trip of the year was kindergarten. So not risky at all. So, definitely brave there. And our 4th graders are planning to go to Hobbs later this month, along with some other trips. And then make sure to come check out our amazing artist on May 27th from 4 to 7 at our K6 campus. Any questions?
How was Space Camp?
Space Camp was amazing. Amazing. Got to go. We had 2 groups go. And, there was no big breakdowns on the interstate that caused 2 a.m. So it was a great experience for the kids and the adults. And our 4th grade team is amazing that they put in the work and, to come back to work the day after Space Camp on that Friday and still deliver great instruction. I don't know how they did it. They may have taken a nap or 2. So.
And selfishly, as a fan of the Space Camp movie from the 80s, I was jacked to get to be able to go. So it was personal note, awesome.
That's great. Great to hear. All right. So next we have our update from our high school principal.
Thank you. So the 712 campus is wrapping up ACT Aspire testing. So we're catching those last few kids that we're making up or that we're trying to finish. We have tested all but 21 of the 7th through 10th graders on our campus by surpassing the 95% requirement set by the state. So that is all. Thank you to Rachel Carpenter for tracking down kids and to parents of virtual students for making sure that they get here so that we can get that done. We're in the middle of AP testing right now. We have the largest population of students taking AP exams in our school's history. And we hope to have just as many, if not more, next year. In fact, we've added 2 AP classes to the course catalog. So AP Art History and AP Human Geography will be options for students in the fall. Course requests for next year will be open at the end of next week, and we'll be holding parent meetings to help ensure that parents understand how to go through that process. In eSchool, if you're a new student, then that process will be completed through a Google form, and we'll do a slightly separate parent meeting for you. We have lots of upcoming performances to finish out the school year. This is the time of year every year where I feel like I should just have a cot in my office, and this year's no exception. So please make sure that you're checking that calendar for a full listing. There's a jazz concert tonight. I know there's a choir concert coming up. And we have lots of dance concerts coming up, so lots of things going on. Graduation and prom plans are in place and moving forward. And then our May Teacher of the Month is Marissa Colbreth, and our Students of the Month are Roddy Little, Evan Seagraves, and Giselle Catalan.
Congratulations to everyone. Thank you, Ms. Wright. Anybody have any questions for the high school? Everybody good? All right. Then let's move on to our student council rep. Do we have a student council rep online? Yes. Hello.
Hi. I am on student council, but my name is Anna Castleman, and I'm also a part of our high school student voice team. And so I was asked to give a little update on our student voice group and what we've been doing. So we've been working ever since we got to go to a few leadership conferences. We've been working on creating more opportunities to share our students' thoughts and opinions and their voice, to create a more collaborative learning environment between our students and teachers, and to improve our school's culture. So one thing that we have worked on as our student voice group is individual teacher meetings. Each of our student voice members paired up with about 6 or 7 teachers, and during about 2 weeks, we had individual meetings with each of them to kind of gauge their thoughts and opinions, because we felt like we not only want to hear from our students what our students want from our teachers and what our students want out of their school experience, but we also wanted to hear from our teachers and what they wish us students would know, or anything that to have their voices heard as well. We also just recently conducted student assemblies on student voice. We found that in the first few weeks of talking about student voice a little more, lots of our students didn't really know what it was. And so we held assemblies with 7th and 8th grade, 9th and 10th grade, and 11th and 12th grade to kind of explain to them what student voice is, what our goal, what our purpose is. And we also held some activities to gauge things that they love about our school, because we always want to know what things are great and that we should keep doing, and also things that they want to see improved, and that they would love to see happen at our school. So one of the things that we heard mentioned a few times was more collaborative art events. That's been really hard since COVID, but we hope to, as a group, kind of initiate more art events between different arts. So you have collaborations between the visual art department and the dance department, or we have a lot of opportunities because of all the great classes that we offer, and we want to help motivate more of those kind of collaborations to happen. Our student voice team also is looking at the possibility of some sort of student podcast to share with the school students' opinions and students' thoughts. It's still kind of a workshopping idea. We're still working on it, but we would love to be able to invite students to share any of their ideas or questions, and really show that we actually are listening, and we're trying to incorporate everyone's voice, no matter who you are, to create a more inclusive education environment. So that's what we've been working on. We have a really motivated team, and we're looking forward to hopefully adding new members next year to keep working on things. Thank you.
Sure. So how many students are involved with the team?
So Miss Wright selected 5 students to go to 2 different leadership meetings. And then over the few months after we went to those meetings, we kind of selected from each grade a few other students that we felt would be good examples. So we have about 8 to 10 students now working with us that we meet every week. But we're looking at starting a sort of application process to get more students involved in our meeting process. And no matter who you are, we always want to try to hear everybody's opinions. So we try to reach out often. We've done a few student outreach surveys and such. But yeah, about 8 to 10.
All right. Well, that sounds like what you're doing is great. I mean, that's something I think that will really help not only you guys as students, but the teachers, just so everybody kind of knows what's happening and what our expectations are. Does any of the other board members have questions? Comments? All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. And you can drop off if you want, or you can stay for the rest of the meeting, whatever you'd like to do. All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, so next, it looks like we have Mr. Jones, Arts Integration.
Good evening from Little Rock. I'm missing Northwest Arkansas, but we got one more day and then we'll be heading back. So we got lots of things going on. Art on the Bricks, May 13th from 4:30 to 7:30. That's this week. We have several classes from both campuses that are going to be performing at the Art, Antiques, and Anime Art on the Bricks, taking place downtown Rogers this week. So come out, support the students and teachers for all their hard work. For many, this will be the first time for them to have performed in over a year. So come on out, it'll be a lot of fun. Culinary is going to be taking a field trip. So we're kind of looking at getting back into some of the field trips. They're going to be going to the Peel Mansion in Bentonville. They're going to experience the herb garden that's currently being planted. Students are not only going to see how soil is prepared and what types of herbs kind of grow well in this environment, but they're going to learn how to introduce certain species of insects that can be introduced into your garden to control pests, kind of insect assassins. So we'll make it arts integration. So that's going to be kind of fun. High school fashion advanced, or the high school advanced fashion design class, they're finishing up their spring clothing line. So they're going to be conducting a photo shoot for each one of the designers. So be on the lookout for and purchase one of their magazines that they're going to be making at the end of this month. And we've got lots of different kinds of things. There's too many projects kind of going on at both campuses. But as one that's being kind of prepared for, 7th grade is looking to go to Little Rock the first week of June to tour the Central High School. So that's going to be kind of exciting. And then as Mr. Young mentioned, there is a new individual that has just started at Crystal Bridges as the new head of schools programs, head of education, head of schools program, got it right. And her name is Tiffany Harris, and she's very, very excited to talk to both campuses. So we have organized an opportunity for her to kind of meet everybody via Zoom, and she's going to be talking about what she thinks will be fantastic in our collaboration and partnership that we have and what we're going to be doing this next year. That's it.
All right. Appreciate it. Assume there's no questions for Mr. Jones. Appreciate all your hard work. Thank you so much. Moving on, special education.
I have that this evening.
All right.
This is from Beth Scott. The special education team is continuing to be proactive during the final month of school. A top priority is ensuring continued daily instruction and learning opportunities for student success for the remainder of the year. The special education team has begun collaborating new and exciting educational opportunities for the next year that will provide a broader scope of interventions and special education learning environments, allowing for closing the gap that we have experienced during this loss of learning during COVID and educational settings that may have interfered with traditional learning. We are hoping to work out this programming to provide a more individualized delivery model for our students who are struggling and need more intensive assistance for success. Annual reviews of all students are current IEPs have been running smoothly and parent participation has been positive. The special education team has been doing an excellent job in meeting the guidelines set forth by the Arkansas Department of Education in maintaining required records, and their paperwork entries have been showing significant progress. Kindergarten transition of special education students has taken place, and we held a total of 5 conferences, with 2 of those students continuing to qualify for services. Sydney Peterson, speech pathologist, did an excellent job of taking on these transition conferences and making sure all components were met for placement. Last but not least, I was able to submit our final entry into my SPED record review. The last component of the corrective action plan. Now we are patiently waiting for their review and response, hoping to hear something soon. I'm so excited to be part of this transformation of the special education department.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, Medicaid, and that is Sheila.
Hi. Hang on, let me take these off. Okay, so Medicaid reimbursements are picking up since we switched from Script Easy Track to C's Desktop a month ago. The C's Desktop people have been able to get our billing going, and we have so far to date collected $5,073.04 for the month of April. Now that's only a partial, because by the time we got everything set up and everything, we lost a little bit of that. And that's part of that recoupment we're going to get from the previous company once the dust settles. On May 15th, the C's Desktop program will actually do pull a billing, and that will actually be from April 15th to May 15th. So it's totally for a whole month for them. So we're hoping that it will be, maybe $8,000 or a little more. And then some of the therapists are still in the process of getting all their notes in so that we can continue to bill for the month of May last year. So it's looking really good. I spoke with the representative from C's yesterday, and he's been pulling error reports so that we can check our documentation of students entered and that kind of stuff. And so far, I don't have any errors, so that's good. So Medicaid is looking good.
Good. All right. That is fantastic. Any questions? Everybody good? All right. So now we have our human resources report. Terry?
Hey, good evening, everybody. In human resources, we're currently working on the 21-22 at-will employment agreements. We have 111 employee agreements to complete for next year. They will be out to the employees to review and sign the week of May 17th. We currently have 1 resignation and 1 non-renewal. And then all of our open positions, the ones that we will have open, we are hoping to have those posted by the end of this month. So that's what we're working on in human resources right now.
Okay, so by the end of the month, when do the staff members have to return their intent to, or return their agreements?
They have, we get them out May 17th. I believe they have, I want to say they have 2 weeks to get them back.
Okay.
That's right, Terry, 2 weeks.
So by the end of May then?
Yes.
Roughly.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Terry? All good? All right, then we're moving on to athletics update, Mr. Skelton. At
Good
the baseball
evening.
game.
Well, I'm in my car to kind of drown out some of the hog calls, but yes, I'm watching a Razorback baseball game. We have company in from a couple of professors and 2 grad students in from Middle Tennessee State University, staying with us. They're doing research with the Springdale Middle School, and I know that we have a large presence there. We probably have 12 to 15 students that attends that university. They have a great modern music program. But anyway, that's my excuse, and I'm going to stick with it. So, but a good evening to everyone. We're wrapping up our year. We have a couple of great events coming up, family friendly. May the 15th is our 5K run at 7:00 a.m. at Lake Atalanta. And we use this fundraiser mainly for our cross country and track. May the 20th is our end of the year sports banquet at the high school commons. More information will be coming to you on that event, but we want to honor all of our athletes for the year. Our basketball teams are already practicing 2 days a week. They're looking forward to our exciting year 2 of the conference play. Miss Gully and Miss Colbreth have taken over the girls basketball team program. So this is a great win, great addition to our program. It also relieves Coach Fred from being the coach of 4 basketball teams. So it gives him a little bit of a life back. Soccer wrapped up their season. Their first season. We started last year, but COVID hit. We only played 1 game, but we were able to get in 10 games this year. And our highlights would be big wins over 4A opponents, Huntsville and Farmington. Track, we had several athletes to score in the conference meet, both junior high and senior high, boys and girls. So congratulations to them. We had one of our seniors to win the conference in high jump, and he went on to the state meet and finished second place, tied for second, which Ben Vogel, a senior both in basketball and track, did a great job. We talked a little bit about our archers last month. We had 5 to make the national. We had 1, Logan Fogg, a 6th grader, to shoot 290 out of possible 300, and he finished 2nd in the nation as a 6th grade boy. There were over 1,200 shooters in that division. So congratulations to Logan Fogg, an outstanding 6th grader student, outstanding family, and just cannot say, it's to finish 2nd in the nation. That's awesome. So good job, Logan. And that's all I have for this evening.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the game that you get to watch. Appreciate you a lot. Thank you.
Tony.
I will, but I will have my phone with me and my earbuds in. So
Okay. Richard, did you have something to say?
Oh, I just wanted to interject that Jamie Dale, who is the knower of all things, who's here in Little Rock with all of us, wanted to remind us, because I misspoke, that illegally, according to the state of Arkansas, teachers have 30 days to sign their agreements. So just to clarify that on behalf of staff. And while it's not on the agenda, I'm hoping that Neil Harrell is able to give us a transportation report. Is Neil there?
He is. Hold on a minute. Are you ready for him? He's coming, Richard. We got to swap places.
All right.
There you go. Hold on. No, you're right here. You're on now. You don't need your phone. There you go. They can see it.
Hi, everyone. Neil Harold, Transportation Dude. I've got one quick thing I'd like to cover with you. The school has a 2018 Suburban with 20,000 miles on it that we have not fully utilized to its potential. We have located a 15-passenger bus that is ADA compatible that does not require CDL that we would like to purchase in its place. This will allow us to not have to use school buses and drivers for smaller groups. And the fact that it's ADA compliant means we have a capability should the need arise. This allows persons with a regular Class A driver's license to operate it. And the bid on the Suburban is $32,500 from Superior Auto Group. The replacement vehicle, which I think Debbie Zupan sent you a picture of, a bus picture today.
Yes.
The replacement vehicle will be only $3,400 more than the sale price of the Suburban, which Rich said is eligible to be funded by ESSER. And we'd appreciate your consideration and approval of this disposal. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question for you, Terry. You mentioned for smaller groups, we can use non-traditional school bus. Do we know what the number is to define smaller?
Well, this is a 15-passenger van. Like we had someone take it for cross country the other day. The Suburban didn't have enough people for it. I had a soccer group that needed to go to a soccer match, and we had to use a school bus for that event where we probably could have gotten by with this passenger van.
Okay. Are there state regulations that determine what type of vehicle we need to use for a certain size or certain group size of kids?
15
And if so,
passenger.
what is that? Sorry?
15 passenger.
15 are great. I'm saying, so you're saying the state reg says 15 kids or more and you have to have a school bus?
Correct. Or 15.
Or a CDL license.
You have, let's say that I could drive this bus because I don't have a bus driver's license. So a 15 passenger means that any teacher, any administrator, anybody that we designate can drive this without a special license. Anything more than 15 requires a special license. So like the Suburban, anybody can drive this particular bus.
So, okay, but so I just want to make sure I'm being clear though. So the number of, I'm not talking about the license itself. I'm talking about the number of kids. Are there any state regulations that say 10 kids or more has to be in a school bus or et cetera? No?
No.
No, sir.
It's really only a feature of who can drive the bus.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
We can talk about replacement here in a second. So I don't see that on the new business. So let's make sure we do. Yeah, we do. I see it. Asset disposal. All right. So new business proposed budget 21-22.
So the first four items require approval from the board. And so I'll ask if there's any questions about A, B, C, or D. The proposed budget for 21-22 that Bonnie Colville helped me develop is a kind of a new format where it really compares apples to apples from last year to this year. And so you see that total expenditures for this year are anticipated at $8.9 million. And based upon funding for next year, total expenditures are at $9.7 million. We expect to clear $500,000 as a carry forward for this year. And based upon expenditures that we're planning, we have about a $280,000 clearance for the next school year. So what we're hoping is that the board will approve this particular proposal. There's more details to come, but this is really the structure that we want to put forward as the budget for next year. So that's number A. B is the annual report for the previous school year, of which I was not here, but I wrote the report for. So that's just to tidy up that particular piece. Item C is the required this school year's report to the public, saying what we're going to do. And then final is the school improvement plan attachment, which is the district's proposal for school improvement for next year. And I will say that both the elementary school and the high school, both Matt and Heather, have developed individual school improvement programs that will be attached to that eventually. So we have the district, the elementary and the high school improvement plans, and they're very comprehensive, they're very detailed, and we're really looking to have those posted online. So based either upon questions or upon approval, we could approve A, B, C, and D, or if there are any questions you have, I'm happy to answer them.
I had a chance to look over the proposed budget. Looks good to me. I like the new format, a little bit easier to understand than it was in the past. Very impressed with that because it was something I, as a layman, could look at and understand. And I do appreciate that, Bonnie and Richard.
Good.
That has made a difference.
Good.
I got a question on item D. So that's the district development plan. Is that something we developed ourselves?
Well, you can use any format for school improvement plans. I created the district improvement plan format, which really details sort of very specifically what are the main objectives for the school district. Both the high school and the elementary school identified their particular ones, and then exactly what actions will we take to complete those. So it's a format that we invented, and it seems to be pretty popular.
I'm just looking through, there's a typo, page 25, it references the Rhode Island State Accountability System metrics.
Oh, I don't know why that's there, but let me look at that. Okay. On page what?
Page 25.
Okay, thank you. I'll correct that. Actually, I got the format from my colleague in Rhode Island.
Gotcha.
All right. Were there any other questions on A, B, C, or D by anybody on the board? Like I said, I had a chance to go through all these over the weekend. I didn't catch that that you just caught, Jeff, so I'm glad you did. So as far as the annual report to the public, so we're going to post this on the website. What are the next steps after we approve it?
I should just note that of those four categories, A, B, C, and D, in order for us to qualify for accreditation, we needed to post them on the website. But to be official, the board needs to approve them by board vote. And so the accreditation is just pending until the board vote says we accept those four documents.
But they will be posted on the website shortly after today or whatever.
Actually, they're posted already. It's just that we have to confirm with the state that the board has approved them. I will say that when you go into the My School info, we have what's called an all green wheel saying that all things have been satisfied to meet the state expectations. And I am grateful to make acknowledgement of both Heather and Matt, who helped us to create the fine details of some points of information. So we're good to go in terms of our accreditation.
So, yeah, thank you, Richard. So those of you, the board members that may not know about the My School info, Richard, if you could send that out to the board members, which allows you to go out and you can look at the school information, the ratings compared to other schools. It's really very interesting. Something that I look at usually a couple of times a year just to see how we're performing against other schools. But it's a really good tool. It's something that I think that, lets you see how well we're really doing, especially when you start looking at some of the other schools. Not talking bad about anybody, but.
No, and I want to say is that for a few noodly kinds of things and some things that we really needed to catch up on, we had about 10 items that we needed to fix before we could move forward in accreditation. And with the help of Heather and Matt, we were successful in doing that. So yes, I'll forward that.
All right. So does anybody have any questions? Okay. If not, then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to lump these together because I want them to be approved separately. So I will entertain a motion for accepting the proposed budget for 21-22.
So moved.
Need a second? Somebody give me a second. All right, I got a first and a second. Any further discussion? All right, then all in favor of accepting the proposed budget for 21-22, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. All right, ayes have it, motion passed. Now I'll take a motion to approve, got to take off my glasses, to approve the annual report to the public for the 2019-20 school year.
So made.
Need a second?
Second.
All right,
Second.
got a first and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of accepting the annual report to the public for the 2019-2020 school year, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion passed. So now I need a motion for the annual report to the public for this year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Got a first and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the annual report for this year, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion passed. And then the last we have here is the school improvement plan. I'll entertain a motion for that. Matt, do you have a question or something?
Tony, can you clarify something for me?
Sure.
On the 2021 report to the public, it talked about that we'd created a new ethics policy, and I didn't think we actually had done that this year.
We've actually created it, but it hasn't been voted on by the board yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. So school improvement plan, I need a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion pending the minor correction for the reference to Rhode Island.
Okay.
Second.
I got a first and a second. Any further discussion? Thanks for bringing that up, Matt. Appreciate it. So any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion passed. All right. So the next thing we have is the asset disposal request. So this was to sell our current Suburban and buy the 15-passenger van for, I think it was what, a $3,400 difference in between what we're selling the Suburban for and buying this van. Any comments, any questions around that from the board? All right, well, in that case, I will accept a motion to sell the Suburban and buy the 15-passenger van.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Got a first and a second. All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor of selling the Suburban and buying the van, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those
Aye.
opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion passed. All right. So the next thing we have on the new business is the new board member professional development expectations. Richard, did you want to speak to that?
Well, there's just an annual expectation that board members between January 1st and December 31st will meet obligations for professional development. Debbie Zupan keeps track of our current board members. And Debbie, am I correct that everyone who is currently on the board is up to date for their trainings?
Yes, are very close. They have scheduled trainings to meet that.
Great.
Yeah. And so part of this is just sort of stating publicly that as we have two new board members that are coming on in July 1, that we provide them with information that states what the professional development and training expectations for new board members are as they come on in July.
Yep. And as a old timer, I'm just going to encourage everybody, get as much as you can. I always learn something, and it's just great to have that under your belt. All right.
Tony?
Yes.
There is a training available in June for new board members. It's a boot camp kind of a situation. It would be awesome for the two new members that are joining us July 1. And I would recommend them attend that. It's through the Arkansas School Board Association in Little Rock.
All right. Yeah, since so many school boards switch over in May, I'm sure that's why they're doing it. So be sure and send them an email with all the information. If you have it
Is
all.
that virtual or in person, Debbie?
It's virtual.
Okay.
All right. So last on here, the athletic review. So a little less than a year ago, last June, we discussed whether or not we wanted to continue with athletics here at Arkansas Arts Academy. The board initially had decided to discontinue, then after getting input from the school community, we reversed that and put the athletics out there for an annual review. So that's what we're looking at now. We have some information that we want to share with everybody. But basically, we're looking at, do we want to continue with the athletics program in Arkansas Arts Academy? I just want to say, we got to remember we're an art school. Our charter is an art school. I don't want to see us become, athletics and lose the arts. Just want to make sure that we remember our charter, and when our charter is up for renewal, that will be looked at. I'm sure that we are continuing to provide the best that we can in arts. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Richard, and then we'll discuss this amongst the board.
Sure. So I'm reviewing the minutes of the last board meeting that had a discussion regarding athletics. There were a number of items that were set forward which were part of the minutes, and they state these particular things: that no school funds would be used for athletics, that the minutes said that there would be opportunities for athletics at the Rogers Athletic Activity Center and through local pickup games. Subsequent to that, which I never found anything in the minutes that set forward an approval for the district to move forward to conferencing games where they would have to travel further distances as a part of that activity. I would remind those listening and the board members that the differences between public schools and public charter schools is really a feature that public schools are required to be comprehensive schools and to provide the expectations of what a public school looks like. And in those cases, based upon their self-interest, they have fully developed athletics programs, but I would also say that they do not have fully developed arts programs, which is the goal of this institution. So all of those are really the facts that are before us, but what I wanted to do, because it's really my job as instructional leader in the district, was to take a look, and I asked our technology person, Victor Craig, to take a look at, was to evaluate across all students who participated in athletics games, not physical education, but those games which took students away from instructional time, was to take a look at early dismissals and how much time was lost instructionally when they had to leave the school early to travel 1, 2, 3 hours to travel to a game. Also to take a look at the comparison of their GPA from last year to this year, and then also to take a look at when they were gone for games that went late into the evening, what were their absences that followed those games, and were they absent for certain days afterwards? And so the graph that you see before you, which is about as agnostic as you can get in terms of a reporting document, shows very specifically how much time was lost instructionally, how much, what the change in their GPA was, and if it falls below the line in the blue, those were drops in GPA from last year to this year, and a feature of absences that might have occurred as part of that experience. It's agnostic. It's just really says that for those students who participated in athletics, this was how much time was lost instructionally. This is what happened to their GPAs. And so this is information for the board's consideration. It is not a matter of what I prefer or what I don't prefer. It just states the facts. One might say, well, it was COVID, so there were some challenges that were here. I did not run a report on COVID, but all of the athletes had the same impact of COVID as well as other students in the district. And so this is the criteria that is set forward that is beyond the COVID impact, but based upon athletics only. So that's all. That's really all I have to say at this point.
Would one of the board members like to speak? Jeff?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Yes.
Yeah, Nate, you can go first.
Perfect. Okay. I'm trying to find that. Richard, where is that piece of paper document to look at?
It was sent out today by Debbie. A modified school board agenda was the email.
Yeah, it's a 3-page PDF file that came this afternoon.
Okay.
As an
Go
amendment.
ahead, Jeff. I'll read it. I'll read it right now. Go ahead, Jeff. If you have
Sure.
some comments. I will have some comments though.
Yeah, yeah, we just went through this exercise last year. I think the public was gave a resounding answer in what their thoughts were, if AAA should have sports programs or not. And it was resoundingly in favor of yes. I know that there were a few parents who spoke and said we think it'd be better if it was gone. I will say that all I can say is that the families that were in favor of keeping sports were more vocal, if not more prevalent, or more numerous, I should say. If I'm looking at, Terry was on the call. I was one of the students talking about the impact of sports in his life. There are countless examples of that, not just at the Arts Academy, but really across the country. Sports are a huge part of development, not just in competitive and such, but learning how to be a leader, learning how to function as a part of a team, how to put other people first. There are significant life lessons that come along with sports that I will make no bones about. I am significantly in favor of. Some questions on that though. I look at the comment about a fully developed sports program and that public schools have fully developed sports programs. I would make an argument that the approach we take to sports here it pales in comparison to public schools. So I wouldn't necessarily call that fully developed by comparison to public schools, which is appropriate if we're a charter school that focuses on the arts. Personally, in my own experience, I don't see that we're coming anywhere close to emphasizing sports at the same level or greater than arts. I don't think we're anywhere close to doing that. And as far as grades and how that compares to I'd be curious how that compares to the rest of AAA, because I know my own student, and whether that's COVID or that's a variety of reasons, the last year and a half has been really rough on grades. So I'd be really interested to see just how those grade point averages and the drop that you're seeing when you're looking just at student athletes, how that compares to the rest of the school. Not necessarily because of COVID, but just student body in general. And last, I think that, I know that, if we do this, enrollment will drop. By how much? I don't know, but enrollment will drop. And for a school that we pride ourselves in being a diverse learning environment, and I'm not talking necessarily about ethnic diversity, but just diverse in what people love and what their passions are, that will diminish by removing the sports program as well. This is a subject I'm really passionate about, very opinionated about, but I do think it would be very much not in the interest of the school as a whole to remove the sports programs.
So let me just make a couple of comments about Jeff, and I think that's well stated. I was not suggesting that, based upon this graph, that athletics should be removed from Arkansas Arts Academy. I guess what I was trying to suggest was that when early dismissals happen at 1 o'clock in the afternoon so they can travel many hours to a conference game is not the expectation of what the minutes set forward a year ago. It said that there would be athletics, but it never said that they will travel to conference games many hours away. And so the graph is demonstrating that lost instructional time and time away from school represents a drop in GPA. Because if you aren't learning, you're not going to perform at the same level. So I think what's important here is to suggest that if we return to the original minutes, it says that athletics would be available at the Rogers Activity Center and pick up games locally, which does not mean that they have to be released from school many hours earlier than other students. So I just want to be clear that I'm not suggesting that we remove athletics. I think we just need to have a discussion about what does athletics look like. And I will say that I have parents who have students who go to our school, who also have parents who send their children to Rogers public schools because they have a more robust athletics program because that's what their student is interested in. They also have students who go to a private school because it has a better college prep program than we have. So there are choices to be made in this world of schools in Northwestern Arkansas.
Sure.
And in this particular case, this is an art school, and I think we can do our best to provide athletics opportunities, but charter schools are not required to be comprehensive schools like public schools are. I just wanted to be clarify that particular position.
That's correct. And I guess it's a sensitivity to me because this was the first thing, as new board members, I know Nate and Adrian, this is like the first issue that popped onto our place when we came in last year. The first thing we had to deal with. And the tone of that, given that the board had voted, before we came on to say no more sports, the tone of that was that, okay, we're not in favor of sports, because obviously the board voted to cancel the sports programs. So when I see it pop onto the agenda, you'll forgive me if I look at that and say, okay, here we go again. And it just feels like that. So if I misinterpreted that, I apologize.
Yeah, so the board minutes say that it would be revisited at the end of the year, and that's where we are. We're just revisiting.
Nate, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I do. So my kids actually don't play sports. I wish they would. And I think we've heard from students last year and parents last year, and I've heard from parents this year, numerous parents, the importance of athletics in our school. And what I would say is I look at this, sorry, I was a little bit late to that as far as reading this, but I think, and Richard, you're saying you're not saying we should change the athletic or get rid of the athletics, but rather change it. I think it all falls to accountability on the student. I don't think we, at least in my opinion, are these all the athletes on this, or is this just a subset?
No, it's everybody who has participated in athletics as
Okay.
a part of away games or here.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm in favor of an accountability for students who degrade their GPA by that. I think that's important. I know in the school I grew up in, if you didn't meet X amount of GPA or you missed so many classes, you were off the team. Unfortunately, because of the lack of, I wouldn't say lack of interest, but we have a small athletics program. Even the removal of one kid can be detrimental to the team. So my thought is very similar to Jeff, is that this is a very important element of education. It fosters teamwork, it fosters leadership and things like that. Not to say that arts does not, because again, you said this is an art school, and I think we can integrate those together. But I will say that the overwhelming opinion of the students and the parents is that we keep the athletics program. And I was elected to represent the parents and the students, and I would vote to keep the athletics program as is, with the caveat of, do we need to adjust the accountability? I agree with that. I think we need to adjust accountability. Student needs to understand you are here to learn. Athletics is a privilege. To be part of team is a privilege, and we have to make sure that they're excelling in academics and in athletics as well. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Can I ask a question? I don't have a dog in this fight either. I'm curious what the current standards are for athletes. If someone can remind me, if I was already supposed to know that, what is the minimum GPA, and do we have stipulations about, finishing schoolwork and those sorts of things at present? Do we need to work on that?
Good point.
Does anybody know the answer? Matt?
You're muted, Matt.
Turn your
that mute button.
I'm here, and
go ahead, Mr. Skelton.
I can help you with a couple of those items. 2 point is our GPA. The graph that was sent out. May I be frank in this discussion?
Of course.
Sure.
Honestly tells us nothing. I've had 2 research professors to look at it, and it says, unless you have all of the data, unless you have the other students, unless you have when the GPA were pulled, unless you have all of the assignments submitted to eSchool before the GPAs were pulled, and we have to remember that last spring was a no harm semester. sent to us by the State Department. So that's our items about the graph. The other item about competing in a conference, I know that we have talked about the March 2018 meeting, but we have not mentioned the September of 2018, where the board was informed that we were competing in the 2A conference. And there wasn't an official vote, but it was said, look, we're doing it, let's continue to do that. So we did. And an item that's not in the minutes from the May meeting is Mary Lay's comment about having a national sports program. Now, I understand we're not going to have a national sports program. I don't see that, but we do have the people in place that we can have a sports program that, as I mentioned in my presentation last May, that the Arts Academy can be proud of. Now, we've talked about traveling. We are in the 2A conference, and that's based upon our enrollment of 2017, 2018, 2019, October 1, that cycle report. That puts us in the classification. We're in 2A. Then the State Department Activity Association groups schools together to limit travel. We just happen to be where we are at the time we are. Now, in 2021, they are going to go, we will go through a reclassification. The numbers are looking like we're going to be moved to 3A, which has several schools along the 49 interstate, which should make travel better. But we are bound by what the Arkansas Activity Association, where they place us. And then we are bound by the conference as far as the number of games when they're played. I want to give Coach Fred a lot of credit for waiting until the last minute to pull kids out, to leave. We had kids, I know Hurd was talking about going to Cotter. We had kids getting off the bus at 10 to 5 and ready to play at 5 o'clock. That's not fair to our athletes, but they needed to be in class. So that's what we tried to do. Now, the one thing that hurt us this year was our AB schedule. Tuesday and Friday is our big travel day. That was a B day. Normally, if I'm not mistaken, Miss Wright, it normally would have gone A, so that Tuesday and Friday would not be the same day. They would not be missing the same classes. But so those are just a couple of thoughts that I have. I'm passionate about this, but I do want to say I have been in it 40 years. I have been to close to 4,000 athletic events, some as a player, but 80% as an administrator, watching kids, or as a parent, watching kids develop. So it's who I am, and I love kids. I love to see kids excel. Terry Poole is a perfect example, and he gave you his story. And just take that to heart and just know that we are doing the right thing by having athletics here, not by making it the primary focus, in no way, or will we do that, but to have it here at Arkansas Arts Academy to allow kids to participate and to encourage kids. I would encourage the board members to come out and watch our basketball teams, our soccer team, our track, our cross country. Invite you out to those events and see what's going on, so that maybe you would have a different view of it. And so I would just put that out to the board. Those are my thoughts. Thank you for And I'm sorry, I'm walking around and pacing. Thank you.
David. Thank
Mr.
you,
Skelton, can I ask you just a couple of clarification points?
Yes, ma'am.
So kids have to have a C average is what I heard, which is 2 point, right? Am I doing the math?
Yes.
Um,
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any stipulations in the athletes like ethics code or whatever they have to sign? I know we created a document that they have to sign about having to get work turned in on time and like a drop in their performance, or anything that basically says if their teachers report to you or their parents that their school performance is suffering, that they will go on any kind of probation or anything like that?
There is. Right now we're using semesters. At the end of each semester, if you have less than 2 points, then you're ineligible for the next semester to participate. Our committee talked about that, and I think Jeff or Nate mentioned our size. If Fred is headed to a basketball game on a Friday evening and he's leaving at 3:00, then a teacher suddenly calls him or sends him an email and saying, "Hey, Terry grades dropped this week. He cannot play." The problem there, the concern there is, what are you doing to the rest of the teammates? And because that throws his game plan out the window. But it is, Jeff and Nate spoke about accountability. We have to find a way to hold the kids accountable and make them realize that we're not we're not the U of A where I'm at, but they need to get the work in. They need to attend class. They need to be in class. And
yeah, the C average that you're referring to, I mean, that's something that I know I've seen at public schools that's common for basic eligibility for students, right? Now,
yes.
should that be the encouraged bar? Well, no, that shouldn't be the encouraged bar.
No.
And if people dip below that C average, or we can determine what that average is going to be, but if they dip below that average, we need to have a hard stop on their eligibility to play in that game. And I get it. I mean, it affects the game plan, right? But part of that becomes on the student athlete for letting down his or her teammates by letting his or her grades drop.
Yep.
So I do think there needs to be accountability there, not necessarily to say, okay, well, it's going to affect the game plan or the outcome of the sporting event, and not hold them accountable for their for the drop.
Yes.
And
okay.
I just have one comment. I'm really just trying to stay out of this and listen. We did say in July of last year that the sports would be through pickup games in the Rogers Activity Center, which is not what happened. We stayed in conference.
No, we said that Mary said we were going to compete in the 2A conference.
I do not see that in the notes. What it says in the meeting notes is that we would stay in the Rogers Activity Center and do pickup games in the local area. Now, if there was a misunderstanding there, okay. But it's just something, that's what the meeting notes say versus what happened. And that I just wanted to make that statement.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Now, one thing that I would like to say, Matt, just one sec, is I agree that we need to increase the accountability. Maybe we need to form a team to look at what that should be. What should be the GPA? Should it be 2.5? Should it be, 2.0, whatever? Also, as far as the absences after games, maybe that should be taken into account too. If kids are really missing the morning or the day after a game, maybe that should be taken into the accountability also. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, Matt.
I agree with that. This year we were talking about Wednesday being an optional day for kids to attend. So that would be the day after Tuesday, and then Saturday So I would like to see some more data, with the absences after the games.
Sure,
So
I understand that. Yeah, but like I said, I'm just saying maybe there's something we should look at. Matt, you had something to say.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure people knew that Heather and I actually developed a list for first semester after first semester of students' eligibility. There were 43 students, 7th through 12th grade, not eligible, and that's athletics, clubs, and special performances. Of those 43 students with the eligibility issues, 3 of those were athlete students. And then we had 91 students that we placed on academic probation so that they can get additional help so people can keep an extra eye on them. And I want to, definitely thank Heather's staff with ESL. The special ed staff has done amazing. Heather and Rachel watching the 504 students. So 91 students, though, were on probation for this semester. And 6 of those students were athletes. So I don't want you to think there's not a plan, and that's not an athletic plan. That's a, hey, these kids are struggling plan.
I guess my question would be what percentages, because we have a lot more kids that aren't in athletics versus those that are. So
that sounds like about 7%.
Yeah. So, what are the percentages there is what made my question.
Right, Tony. And we could have had numbers for you. But we didn't really know what direction this was going to go today as far as a review. And since the data that was given wasn't sent out till 3:40 today, it didn't give Mr. Skelton any time to come up with those information and work with Ms. Wright to get those.
Well, understood. Anybody else?
So I have a request.
Yes.
Are we, so actually question, Tony, are we actually voting on anything or are we just reviewing?
I'm going to suggest we table this for this session, for this meeting, simply because we have a couple of board members that are missing.
Yeah. If Matt and Mr. Skelton and any coaches that wanted to participate could maybe just prepare a 1-page document that basically says, here's the current athletes code or whatever that has, the requirements, the GPA requirements, the behavior requirements, the ethic requirements, blah, blah, blah. And then, maybe at the bottom of that page, give us details on percentages and how many kids were affected. And maybe if you could data mine the absence question, just so we have all the information, because I'm not hearing anybody say that we want to discontinue sports. I'm not advocating for discontinuing sports. It seems like it's a valuable thing. We're kind of nitpicking about how the sports are, or 2A, 3A, Rogers, whatever. It'd be nice to know what we're actually doing because I don't actually know. I don't have a kid in sports. I never will. I'd like to know what we are actually doing with each sport, how it's arranged, and whether we have any objective data that it is actually a negative thing for any particular student. Because I'm not hearing anything that says sports are horrible, let's quit. It seems like we need to keep them. I just would like more data about whether we need to stipulate a few more things about how it's carried out.
So, I think that follow up on that, Kara. Rich, if we could get something that, compares student athlete absences to regular absences, that would help. So we can say, okay, they're less likely to be absent. They're more likely to be absent.
Also, great point average, because what we're looking at here is just showing student athletes, and essentially it's illustrating, it appears to be illustrating, that student athletes are poor students. But we have no idea if that's actually true compared to the rest of the student body.
So I think that would definitely help.
I hope I can.
And then also, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, whatever we develop for sports, let's say we come back and say you have to have a 2.75. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not going to say that's what it is. But let's say we come back and say you have to have a 2.75 to participate. That should be the same across all performances, everything. So that it's fair, it's equal no matter what you're doing. I really think that maybe we ought to look at forming a committee, whatever you want to call it, to look at it and have maybe several teachers involved along with the people from the board, et cetera, so that we can figure out what we really need to have set up to make sure it is equitable and that it's something that is going to work for everybody.
So
Can I make a quick,
one last
another
comment?
suggestion here?
Sure.
Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, I just want to be, I'm trying to be particularly clear about this because it's not nitpicky information. That if there was no specific board agreement that we would be conferencing athletics, which requires a long distance of travel and time away from instruction, while Mr. Skelton may claim that the veracity of this chart is suspect, I just want to point out that what we were comparing here is, because I signed the bus slips that allow them to go away and leave school at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 1:30, which is multiple hours of lost instruction. And so comparing that to what impact does that have on their grades or their GPA? We couldn't claim that they were tested for, but the GPA is a thing that is in the system at this point. That this was really about no one approved attending conference activities as part of the sports program. So defending the conferencing is not really the issue here. What I'm looking at as an instructional leader for this district is if students are missing substantial amount of instructional time in order to participate in athletic activities, this is different than every other student in the school who is attending school until the end of the school day. And that was really only the comparison in this particular document. So the question to the board is really, who do you play? When do you play? How far do you travel to play? And are you still meeting your obligations for a full day of instruction as part of that activity? And so the graph actually clarifies that, and we can compare across all students, and happy to do that. But I just want to be really clear that what we were representing here is time away from instruction and the impact upon learning for students.
Sure, and I appreciate that. I would say that it's not that the time away from instruction for students is not limited to athletics. Just today alone, we had 30 or 40 dance students who got out of elementary school at 1:30 and practiced their routine for arts on the bricks until 5 o'clock. So I mean that does happen. This does happen outside of just of sports.
Sure, but we only have one dance activity, and these are dozens and dozens of athletic events.
True. All right.
Hey, Tony, real quick, please.
Yeah.
If we're taking, Debbie, if you're taking, I know you're taking notes, you take very good notes. I would like, I think as somebody who works corporate, I know what it's like to be afraid to be on the chopping block every year. And what I want to say right now is I want whatever we decide, we need to stop making it an annual review. Because as a student, if I don't know that basketball is going to be around next year, maybe I'm not going to try out. So I just want to say that whatever we do decide, it needs to be, this is how we're going to go for the future, and we're not going to deviate from that. As a board, as a student, and as a teacher, I guess grouped together, we need to decide that. But I think I've heard it loud and clear from the parents, from the students. I know we all heard it loud and clear, but my suggestion would be that we stop voting or stop discussing it. We discuss the accountability, we discuss the measures that we're going to take to ensure the students are held accountable for what they do, but we stop making it an annual review.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? Adrian, you've been kind of quiet. Did you want to say anything, or anybody else board member wise?
No, I'm good. I think the discussion has been interesting. I agree with what Nate just said. That's been my thought this whole time is I'd like to sort of just make, like, let's all agree on it and move forward so that we can just assess and then move on.
All right. I think that's fair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to table the vote till the next board meeting to give a chance for Matt and Mr. Skelton to give us the information that we requested, as well as Rich to give us the information. And then the next board meeting, now if, in the next board meeting, I think that, let me back up. Do we want to, between now and the next board meeting, try to determine what the what's the word I'm looking for? What the GPA is going to be, what the absenteeism rate is going to be. Do we want to do that, or do we after the approval or the non-approval of sports? I would think it should be after, and then determine what those, bars are going to be. Does that sound right?
Tony?
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So,
Tony, just
yes.
one note. The Arkansas, I can't remember, the AAA has the guidelines for GPA and attendance. So we have to follow that if we are.
We cannot increase that. We can't say that instead of 2.0, it's 2.5.
I don't
Yes,
believe
we
so.
can.
We can.
Oh, you can. I didn't think
we can. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great to know.
But
So
we also have to make the decision, Tony, whether or not we are participating in Arkansas Athletic Association.
Yep, I agree. That will all be, like I said, we're going to table that for now. Everybody bring their information to the next board meeting, and we will move forward on that.
Just
But
one question.
I'm going to inquire.
I'm sorry.
I
I know
apologize.
this is going on.
Hold
but I
on.
have one more question. I'm sorry.
Rich, go ahead. Yeah, hold on, Jeff. Rich, go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize. I just wonder, for the purposes of being able to have a longer period of time to finish this conversation, if we couldn't do a workshop with board members so that we can unpack all the pieces that are part of the conversation, compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges, so that when we come back for a board conversation, it's based upon having done a full examination of the items, issues, and information before us. So I'm just going to propose that perhaps a workshop for the board would be a better way to get to the depth of the information before a vote is made publicly.
Do we want to delay then to the July board meeting with the new board members to vote? I'm just throwing this out there.
Well, if we wait, we have kids that are practicing now. We have fundraisers that are coming up. And I think Nate made a very good point that our kids need to know and our parents need to know.
Sure.
And Jeff mentioned, losing students, and I think we will, if they decide to go to another junior high, another high school, then most of those teams are being determined right now. And so if we wait until July to say, we'll have basketball, but we're going to run it through RAC, then it's not fair to our student body, to our parents.
Okay. I was just asking that question.
One last
Jeff, you had
question.
something to say?
Yeah, I just had one last question. It seems like something of this magnitude, that we're bringing on. It got added to the agenda kind of at the last minute, but it doesn't appear like administration has really coordinated on this topic. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of disagreement even coming on to the board. I mean, I would encourage athletic director and administration to be able to communicate about some of this stuff, because that way a lot of this can be resolved, and bringing more actionable discussion to the board. That would be good.
Okay. Well, let's table this till the June board meeting. At that point, we will, if we want, do we want to have a work session between now and then for the board? Jeff,
I'm
Nate,
agreeable to that.
you're agreeable? Okay. All right. So I'll get Richard to work on a date for that and send that out and get that going. And then, like I say, we'll table this until the next board meeting. Is that agreeable?
Good plan.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So with that, look at my agenda here. That was the last thing. Any items that we need to discuss before that have come up since the agenda was published? Ms. Wright.
I just want to remind you, Tony and Richard, that we need to have a diploma signing party.
Okay.
And forth.
All right. And that reminds me, I need to tell everybody now, I will not be in the June board meeting. I am out of town. And since we have to be present now, it looks like I won't be able to attend that meeting. So I will come by and sign that. We'll get all that taken care of before I leave out of town. and I won't be able to do graduation. So Jeff, that means you will be handing out the diplomas this year. So get your suit cleaned and get ready to shake a lot of sweaty palms.
Congratulations to me.
All right. So with that, if there's nothing else, we don't have an executive session. One last thing, I will be sending out some dates for us to do Richard's evaluation over the next couple of weeks. I will send out the forms that are needed for the board members to fill out for that evaluation, as well as I will have a document that we will agree upon that will be the board's evaluation. So be prepared for a special board meeting executive session around Rich's review. Should last about an hour if we have everything in place before we get started. So I'll get those out in the next day or two. And then let's see if we can get together next week or the week after. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So Tony, I just need to interrupt you for, I need to interrupt you for a moment.
Yep.
I haven't asked your permission or Howard's, but the central administration and staff have prepared, are in the process of preparing a farewell for you and for Howard for your many and multiple years of service to Arkansas Arts Academy. So sometime between now and July 1st, there will be an event and you will be recognized and you will enjoy it.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be on this board for almost 14 years now. I've watched the school grow, the high school grow from 170 students to where it is today. You know, went through the merger of the Benton County School of the Arts with the high school and becoming Arkansas Arts Academy. This has been one of the best 14 years of my life as far as that goes. I feel like it's really been a nice ride, but it's time for me to step off the motorcycle and let somebody else get on. All right. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I got a first and a second. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the fine city of Little Rock. And